In September 2024, the International Monetary Fund approved a $7 billion bailout for Pakistan. It was an essential economic lifeline, marking the 23rd time the country required an IMF rescue package since 1958. Decades of financial instability have taken a severe human toll. Today, an estimated 44.7% of Pakistan's population lives below the poverty line, subsisting on less than $4.20 a day. To secure this latest loan, the government had to implement steep austerity measures. In a single year, the federal health development budget, which funds critical public medical infrastructure, was slashed by 47%. The insolvency of the state is a choice of distribution rather than a lack of resources. Looking past the headline poverty figures, the nation's wealth is highly concentrated within specific, shielded institutions. While the civilian government edges towards insolvency, another entity within the borders operates a profitable, tax-exempt corporate empire, controlled entirely by the military. Pakistan is trapped in a structural anomaly. It operates two separate ledgers, a shadow economy that hoards wealth, and a public treasury starved to the point of bankruptcy. This parallel economy is commonly referred to as milbus, short for military business. Its anchor is the Fauji Foundation. Established in 1954, it has grown into a conglomerate valued at approximately $6 billion. The foundation's influence extends far into the civilian economy, where it controls critical national infrastructure. Its subsidiaries command the national market, producing nearly 80% of the country's fertilizer, with additional dominance in banking, cement, and food production. The historical justification for this sprawling commercial presence has always been veteran welfare. The profits are explicitly meant to provide womb-to-tomb care, pensions, and rehabilitation for retired military personnel. Yet, an analysis of the foundation's stated revenues shows a severe imbalance. Only 3 to 5 to break this cycle of insolvency. The IMF has laid out a strict condition. Pakistan must raise its dismal 10% tax to GDP ratio by finally taxing historically protected sectors, specifically agriculture and real estate. But these are the exact sectors dominated by military and political elites. Entities like the Defense Housing Authority control vast tracts of prime, untaxed property, and they possess the political leverage to consistently block attempts to bring this wealth into the tax net. With the wealthiest monopolies shielded from taxation, the civilian government is forced into a compromise. To hit the strict fiscal targets demanded by the IMF, the state must extract those savings elsewhere. The burden falls entirely on human capital. Investments in civilian education and public services are gutted to balance the ledger, crippling the very sectors required to generate future economic growth. Other nations have spent heavily on defense without destroying their economies. In South Korea, high military spending was deliberately routed through civilian conglomerates, allowing defense technology and capital to spill over into the private sector. Pakistan's military economy operates as a walled garden. Backed by privileged access to state land and widespread tax exemptions, it suffocates civilian entrepreneurship rather than stimulating it. The loop is self-reinforcing. Shielding military monopolies forces the government into civilian austerity. That austerity crushes long-term economic growth, which virtually guarantees the country will inevitably trigger its next IMF bailout crisis. The true scale of this imbalance is visible in the 2025-26 federal budget. Despite the threat of national bankruptcy, the government increased defense spending by 20%, allocating 2.55 trillion rupees to the military. When that defense allocation is combined with the crushing cost of servicing national debt, the state is left with mere fractions of a single percent of the budget to educate and heal 240 million citizens. On the national stage, the state displays advanced Nosk missile launchers and pristine formations, the outward projection of a wealthy superpower. Over 70 years, Pakistan built a formidable world-class security state, but it achieved this by starving the civilian foundation that it rests upon. A security apparatus ultimately makes itself insecure when its financial appetite bankrupts its host. As the IMF pushes for yet another round of painful reforms, the core question remains unresolved. Can a nation ever truly fix its economy?